Hello friends, welcome to my channel Welding and NDT. Our today's topic is stress strain curve. So basically stress strain curve is plotted with the help of tensile test of a specimen, and within this video we will learn what is stress, what is strain. We'll learn how this tensile test is conducted, what are the significance of stress strain curve. Basically stress strain curve gives the whole property or the most of the properties of a material. So we'll learn all these things, but before starting this video I would request you to please subscribe my channel if you have not done yet, and also please press the bell icon so that you will get updates on my new videos. So friends, let's start the topic. So first I'll start with what is stress and what is strain. See, stress is nothing but load divided by cross section area. Here I am having one material M1 is the material, and P, there is a force or load which is pulling this material apart from both sides. So P is the force which is acting on this material. Now if we consider cross section area at any point, here or anywhere, see, this is the cross section area, length, its height is L and the width is B. So the stress is nothing but load by cross section area. Load is P by the area is B into L, length into height. So B into L, P by B into L, this is the stress at any cross section area, here, anywhere. So anywhere the load is same, so the stress will be same, and the value of the stress will be P into length into breadth or B into L. Now we have understood what is stress. We'll move to strain. What is strain? So when you pull a material apart with significant load, chances are there that material will be deformed and its length will increase or its shape will change. So strain is nothing but the change in the length by original length. Here the original length of the material here is L0. You can see L0. So L0 is the original length of the material, but after this load P, the material shape has changed or length has changed, and now the new length is L1. It is given here L1. So the change in length will be L1 minus L0. Change in length L1 minus L0 divided by original length. So original length was L0. So L1 minus L0 by L0. This is strain. So now we have understood what is stress and what is strain. So the stress strain curve is the value of this stress and strain which is subjected on a test specimen. And okay, we'll talk later on. First let me tell you about the outcome of tensile test, or what we can conclude or what we can figure out from a stress strain curve. So from a stress strain curve, some very important properties of material can be figured out or can be calculated. That is, first one is the ultimate tensile strength. It is very important from design point of view, ultimate tensile strength. Second one is yield strength, then percentage elongation and reduction in area. This shows the ductility, how ductile a material is. More the elongation, more the reduction in area, so more ductile the material is. Then we have modulus of elasticity, Young's modulus. This is least important. Our main important is ultimate tensile strength, yield strength, elongation and reduction in area. If we talk about the in industries, so these are the most important. So first I'll tell you the method, how this test is conducted, and then I'll show you a stress strain curve and show how these things can be figured out. So to do the test, some standards and codes are there which has given the shape and size. Means you have to make the shape of the material like this. It is a rectangular, or you can make in tensile shape also, tensile round, tensile span. This is round and this is rectangular. So there will be a reduced cross section area here. This is the reduced cross section area, here the original area. So this shape is made as per the applicable standard. Now what we do, we fix the two ends or both ends into the jaw of the tensile test machine. These two ends are fixed into the jaw of the tensile test machine, and a continuous load is given on this test specimen, which will pull this material apart. So what happens, up to certain load, the material will show the behavior of elastic or elasticity. Elasticity is nothing but, suppose if a material has been deformed or its length has been changed. Suppose this sketch pen is the material which I am testing, and I have put two loads on both ends. Now the load will pull this material apart. So suppose there is a change in length, but if I remove the load and if the material regains its shape, then we can say that the material was in elastic zone, or the material is elasticity, or the material is more elastic. So here, up to some point of time or up to certain load, the material will show elasticity behavior. Elastic behavior means if we remove the load, the material will regain its shape. But beyond that point, yielding starts, or a yield point comes, from which the material will permanently deform, means the material will not regain its shape even after removal of the load. So first it is the elastic zone, then this yielding will occur, and this will be the plastic zone, means this is called as plasticity. If the material will be not able to regain its shape, or material will not able to come back to its shape, then that is called as plasticity. Then a point will come where maximum load will be applied on that material and necking will start. I'll explain what is necking, but first give me the flow chart, what steps are there. Then after necking, finally the material will fail or a fracture happens. See what happens. After yield point, a moment will come when the cross section area will reduce sharply, and a notch like portion will happen, or a notch will form or occur. This is called as necking, and breaking occurs at this point only. See here, the item has breaked. So now I'll show you a stress strain curve. See, this is a stress strain curve. On the vertical axis we have the stress. The stress will be plotted, how much load has been given by original area, and on the horizontal axis we have a strain, the elongation or change in length by original length. So there will be a linear shape. Up to here this is linear. So this point is called as up to this point, or this zone is elastic zone, means if in this zone, if the load will be removed, the material will regain its shape. So this is our elastic zone. Now from elastic zone the yielding starts, and here we have a yield point from which the material will permanently deform, and there will be a maximum load. That maximum load is known as ultimate tensile strength, where necking forms or neck forms. Here at the maximum load this neck forms and the fracture happens. So there are many confusion, means some people think that at ultimate tensile strength the fracture happens or the material breaks. No, that is not true. The ultimate tensile stress is the peak load where necking starts. See here you can see necking elongation, but failure happens at less strength. So this is our fracture strength. I'll show you. I'll make one graph and then I'll show you. See here, I'll make one bigger graph. This is our stress, this is our strain. So this is the elastic zone, means material will regain its shape if the load will be removed. Now Young's modulus or modulus of elasticity is find in this region only, and the Young's modulus is nothing but the slope of this curve. Slope, here this perpendicular line will be rise and this will be run. So rise by run, that is the slope, and this is the Young's modulus. Fine. Now after elastic region there will be one yield point, yield strength. Now friends, some material show clear yield strength, but some material doesn't show clear yield strength during testing, like this. So here you will not be able to figure out where the yielding has happened. So depending on the material, yield point can be shown or yield point cannot be shown. If the yield point is not clear, then what we do, we take a offset yielding, means from this point 0.2%, at 0.2% we figure or we draw an imaginary line, and the imaginary line where it cuts the graph we called as offset yield point or the yield point. But here the yield point is visible, and if yield point is visible, there will be one upper yield point and one lower yield point. So between the region upper and lower yield point, the material will deform permanently, but between this region, if we remove the load, the material will change its shape. It will not come to its original shape, but it will try to regain its shape, but it will not come to its original shape. And after this yield point, the material will deform permanently. So now you'll see ultimate tensile strength. So we have understood that the maximum load which will be subjected to that specimen is the ultimate tensile strength. So the calculation is maximum load by original cross section area. So from the machine, tensile strength machine, there will be one indicator which shows the load at each point. So you can check the maximum load which the machine has shown by the original cross section area. One more thing I would like to tell you, that in all the calculation, the original cross section area is always taken into consideration. So some of you have confusion that why we take original cross section area into consideration, because whenever we pull that item, the area keeps on decreasing. So the stress must be the decreased cross section area. But if we consider the decreased cross section area, and every point at every single second, after every single second the area will reduce, then our calculation will be very complex. So that's why, to avoid that complexity, always the original cross section area has to be considered. So maximum laid by original cross section area is equal to ultimate tensile strength. Yield strength is the strength beyond which permanent deformation occurs. As I explained you earlier, that yield strength, beyond yield strength the permanent deformation will occur, and there can be two yield strength also. Material can show upper yield and lower yield. Between this point there will be permanent deformation, but material may try to regain its shape up to some bit, but not fully. Then we have Young's modulus, that is nothing but the slope of the curve in elastic region. In the elastic region, the slope is called as Young's modulus. Finally, one more a very important term which we figure out from, or which we calculate from tensile test, is percent elongation. So percent elongation is nothing but the change in gauge length by original gauge length into 100. So change in gauge length is nothing but the gauge length after the break. Means what we do after break, we fit that those two pieces together, and then we see how much length is there, and the initial length we have already taken. So change in length by original length into 100, if we do the percentage we can get. So here I have written final gauge length is measured after fitting the broken halves of the two specimens together. Then reduction in area. This is not required in the report, but if required, the reduction in area can be calculated as decrease in cross section area by original cross section area into 100. The reduction in area caused by necking of the specimen which is perpendicular to the loading axis. See here, necking is always perpendicular to the loading axis. This is our loading axis, and this is the necking which is perpendicular. So friends, this was about this stress strain graph. The very important point in stress graph is ultimate tensile strength, then yield strength, then this elastic zone, then this fracture stress. Here in this graph also you can see at the peak the necking will start, hence this elongation is called as necking elongation. From this point to the failure, the elongation will be in the necking zone only, but from the start to the ultimate tensile strength, the elongation will be uniform throughout the length of the cross of the specimen. Now where we do this test? So we can do this test in base metal, or we can do this test in weld metal also. So if we are doing this test in base metal like steel plate, before using a steel or steel plate we can do the testing. So from the rolling mill when it comes out, so before using or before fabrication, three types of test can be there: longitudinal, transverse, through thickness. This is our longitudinal axis. So if we draw our piece in this manner, so in the longitudinal axis, so this piece will be longitudinal. If we draw or make our piece in this manner, this is your transverse tensile piece or transverse base metal tensile piece. Now through thickness is commonly through the thickness, from the thickness of this metal. Suppose this is 20 mm or 30 mm depth, so from that metal. So longitudinal and transverse tensile test is basically done to check the strength of the steel or check the strength of the material, whereas through thickness is to check the susceptibility of roll product to lamellar tearing. So to check the lamellar tearing, this is done. Now weld tension test. In weld tension test also three methods are there: all weld metal test, longitudinal weld test, and transverse weld test. I'll explain each with the help of a diagram. Suppose this is our welding. This is the welding. First, all weld metal test. So all weld metal test is basically done to check the property of the filler metal only. Hence in all weld metal test, the specimen is drawn from the welding only, and in the longitudinal axis the specimen is drawn from the welding only welding. Whereas in longitudinal and transverse we check the HZ, weld metal, and heat and parent metal, all three. So longitudinal and transverse, in transverse the specimen is drawn in this manner. Here this is our welding zone, HZ zone, then parent metal. All things has been taken. And in transverse or longitudinal test, this was transverse. In longitudinal, the specimen is drawn in this manner. So you can see that this weld metal has been taken, the HZ has also taken, and the parent metal has been taken. So this is how weld transverse or longitudinal weld test is done. So I hope you like this video. Thank you very much.